Stop looking at girls on Insta. Retweet. Insta more edgy and girl content based, not gonna lie. Yeah, I believe it. That's just Facebook though. That's meta. That's how they do it. They're like, oh, guys like girls? Boom. Insta the most wild one though. Oh, I know. I know. It's actually insane how crazy it is. Instagram wild AF now. Yeah, Instagram definitely got a lot of girl content based. But it's always been that. Instagram's always been like, if you post like a pretty photo of yourself or something, not just for girls, for guys too, or post like a thirst trap or something, you might get more likes and more views anyway, even before it got picked up by Facebook. But now it's just kind of been taken to like that next level. TikTok used to be wild. TikTok used to be wild with like certain dancing trends and things of that nature. And I think TikTok's calmed down a bit too. Again, I think it's like our feeds for real, for real. I feel like there has to be a wild one so there has some balance in the world. Yeah, I think the wild one should be, not publicly accessible to kids. You feel me? I feel like if that's going to be a thing, anything that's like sexualized in that way should not be accessible to the youth because that can change how they see things. Like they're gonna learn about it as they get older anyway, but they should learn about it when they get older. Because if you're exposed to certain substances or anything like that younger, it's bad. It's bad. You feel me? That's how people get addicted to shit. You can get addicted to stuff as an adult again, but you also have better control over everything, your mind in itself. But that comes from someone that was exposed to that stuff young. So if I were to have been able to change stuff for me, I would have rather have not been exposed to certain things younger. So I could have focused more on the things that were important in my life. There's so much more than watching fine ass women on the internet. Just use everything on the internet, you can't hide it no more. You definitely can. In the United States and like a lot of different states now, to get on certain sites, you have to like, it forces you to make an account and like say you're 18 or older and like confirm it though. Like you have to submit like a photo of your ID. Like there's ways around it. They market OF and gambling to kids now, yeah, and that's just not cool. That shit is not cool at all. Like, dude, that's so messed up. But they're trying to like formulate people that are stuck in a mindset and in a cycle of where they feel like they can't get out and escape. That way they can make money off of them. And that's fucked up, bro. Like I get everybody's trying to make like money in some way, shape, or form. Who am I to judge? But if you're doing something like specifically malicious in order to get over on someone else, that's where I'm like, okay, like come on, bro. Like for real. Like we can't just like do something else. They'd steal their parents' ID for 1 minute. They would. They would. And the people that are gonna do it are gonna do it regardless. Okay, we can't do anything about that. But it is our job as adults and people that are going to be the next generation of adults to make sure that we can protect our children as best we can. If people are gonna do it regardless, they're gonna do it regardless. Okay, you feel me? If we are not teaching our kids that, like, hey, because like for me, I'm having that talk with my kids young. Okay, anything that is potentially like bad, by the time you're like 8, 9 years old, even before then maybe, we're talking about it. I'm gonna be like, these are the things that we should not be doing, and here is why we should not be doing them. That way they can be better than me and they have an understanding of it. Because if we help our kids form an understanding of it young, they can be better people in the future because they already know about it. They don't have to go through the experiences in order to learn those lessons. We've already told them about it. In the same way that my grandparents went through their things and they told me about it young and explained it to me multiple different times. So as I was an adult, I had a better understanding of it, which is why I don't drink now, which is why I don't smoke now, which is why I'm not just out having a bunch of just now, you feel me? Which I'm not doing these things because I understand the way they can affect my life and I want something better for myself than that. And I think it's our job, our responsibility as parents, as future parents, as adults to do that. What are we discussing? We're talking about exposure to wild content on the internet. Yeah. So are we discussing child raising? Yeah, similar. So thank you for cluing me in. Yeah, W Crest for real. But nah, the people that are gonna do that are gonna do that. You feel me? If I tell my kid, hey, you should not do this because this, and this, and this, and they still do not listen to me, I messed up. I did something wrong. There was something in somewhere that I should have been better as a parent to where I could have helped my child. And if it's already done, there's no point in getting upset about it. I just need to fix that thing that I messed up before. So when I explain it to them this time, it's better. I need to repair that relationship. I need to be a better parent. The only person's actions we can really control is ourselves, and our child is an extension of us. How would you talk to yourself to help yourself through that situation? Which is also why it's important when picking our partner, and we shouldn't just have anyone as our partner, because we should want someone that would also be good for our children, that we, at least we believe, would also be good for our children. Because when we have those discussions with that woman, man, whoever, when we have those discussions, we want to ensure that we are on the same page. We might not always agree on everything. We might still get into arguments. Sometimes that's life, sometimes that's love. It happens. Nobody's perfect, you know what I mean? But when raising our kids, we should be on the same page. That is very, very important, I think. I'm not a parent yet, however, I'm an uncle and 31. I take the thought that you should raise your child in an environment of open dialogue where you can discuss things and they're able to come to you and voice anything to you. That's facts. Now, when it comes to social media, I believe in setting like guardrails on the internet, meaning ad blockers that blocks crude spams, corn, just like that, just like my sister has chosen to do with her kids. And that's facts, bro. Man, you gotta be my therapist or something. Talk to me. It's a pretty open environment in my chat. I have a lot of rage baiters and people that can come in and be toxic, but usually it's a lot of joking streams when it's like that. And if it ever is like that and you still need to talk to me about something, it's an open space. You can talk to me about it. And if somebody is disrespectful to you or like makes a joke about your situation, I will ban them. If someone comes to me about something serious and we're talking about it, because I will always engage with it unless it's something crazy that is TOS, and then I will say we could talk about it off stream, which is very, very rare that I ever say that. But if you need to talk, I'm always here. Now when her kids turn into teenage years, she will slowly put those rails down without them having to come and complain to her about like what happens in puberty, etc. But I think, of course, you should treat kids according to their age. No, I think that's definitely true. Meaning kids are not able to be responsible and know the gravity of every action online, of what they see, click on, etc. However, you can slowly start to have those conversations when they turn older and have constructive dialogue with them, slowly lessons, rules, whatever. No, I think that's facts. Like, honestly, I agree with you completely. And I feel like kids are obviously going to want to be independent at every age to some extent. However, respecting their independence and also understanding and respecting the curiosity and helping them with the curiosity can help us be able to formulate their growth in a positive way to make them better than we were. Because that's always the goal. And if they do something that we've done and made a mistake in some way that we would have made, we do not get upset at them. Instead, we look in ourselves and we get introspective and we're like, we made a mistake somewhere along the line as to where we were not able to help them avoid making this mistake. We tell them it's okay and we help them work through it in the same way we would have helped ourselves work through it, if not better. We need to be there to guide our children. That is important for everybody, every race, every culture, being there to help guide our children for the next generation. That is what we should be doing. That is very, very important. We can do anything. We can do anything as long as we help our children be better than us and help drill into their heads that they should be doing the same things for their kids. I think the world would be a great, 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 great place if we all are able to just help our children be better than us, bro. And continue to do that. Treat them as individuals and guide them on God. Niggas think because kids don't know about privacy means that they can't just go through your phone. I mean, they could. So it is your job as a parent to explain why they should not do said things, right? And when they have questions, answer them and explain it to them so they won't want to go behind your back and do those things. That's our job as parents. We need to acknowledge those things because those things are a reality. I'm not a parent. I don't have kids. You feel me? I don't have kids and I might never have kids. Just keep it a beansky. That does not mean that I have not sat down and thought about it for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of how like I would want my kids to be raised, things that I went through that I would not want my kids to go through, and things like that. You feel me? But in my opinion, that's pretty much how most people raise kids here. We're a bit more free range than, let's say, in some parts of the US. It really depends, because there's a lot of parts of the US that are actually really free range, I feel like. And then there's parents that try to be strict in order to prevent a certain thing from happening. But being strict and cutting something off completely just means that once your kid figures out how to move around you, you feel me? Because they're going to adapt. We're all humans. We adapt to our environments and to the people around us. That is 100%. That's always going to be true. We always adapt. So your child's just going to learn how to adapt around you, which isn't going to be beneficial because it's going to be really, really hard for you to help raise them and guide them because they're going to be a different person than you would have liked, instead of just explaining something to them. Because if they're just adapting around you, the thing that you didn't want them to do, they're going to eventually see it. They're going to get curious about it because obviously you knew about it and your kid is an extension of you. So they're going to be curious about it. And then it's going to be like, okay, well, now they're doing it. And then you're going to be mad because you were super strict and just tried to cut it off completely instead of explaining it. Like, I don't know, bro. I think how you raise people and how you work things out is very, very important. We were talking about communication earlier too. I think that's very important. That's why I said in certain parts, but the mindset here is more discipline is good, strictness is not. Some rules, etc. As you mentioned, is the case in some parts of the U.S. Like my sis in San Fran, very free range in her neighborhood, but compared to like Minnesota, where I went to high school for a year, I would call that more conservative with raising a child compared to there. Yeah, no, depending on where you are for sure, it might be more conservative, might have more like traditional things, but that's also why like it's very, very important to decide like where we're living with our children, where we want to raise a family and things like that. But at the end of the day, it comes down to you and your household. If you explain to your children young that, hey, like the environment that we're living in right now, this city is more so like this because they believed this, but I came from here and this is why I have the views that I have, your child still might pick up some of those conservative views. You feel me? You can't really stop that as long as they have an understanding. It's all about understanding, and that can prompt their growth, and that can still allow them to go further than we did as their parents. And that is always the goal, because not one view or the other view in the world is ever going to be 100% right. You feel me? I think there's a lot of things that almost everyone on the world everyone in the world could agree on. However, there's a lot of things that we don't agree on. You feel me? Sometimes right and wrong is subjective to the community and the culture that you are in. I think that we all can say that to some point, to attribute to that to like a little bit. Like we all can see that a little bit. Like in some places, certain things might be illegal. In some places, it's not. You know what I mean? And so if we know that and we know how connected the world has become, our kids might end up in some type of like culture or thing or liking something that we just don't. They might start thinking in a way that we just don't. That's okay. It's all about understanding. Not everyone needs to agree on the same things if compromises are able to be brought. Like if we all can come to a compromise and we all can move forward and have understanding of each other, I think that's true peace, bro. Because we don't all need to control each other, bro. Like you don't need to control somebody else as long as you're good and your life is fine, bro. Because you can't speak for everyone else. Like what's good for the goose ain't good for the gander, if you know that phrase. But it's basically saying what's good for one person might not be good for everybody, and that's fact. But understanding and compassion and empathy and making sure that we're all good, taking care of all of our individual families, and just showing love, bro, knowing that nobody's trying to be malicious to us in any way, shape, or form. We're just all trying to be good. That's what's important. Communication is key. I believe so too. Now, I was talking about earlier about like how communication is very, very important. However, do you ever feel like there's situations where like you feel like you don't want to communicate because of how a certain person might respond? You feel me? Or because like a certain person's like actions. I have had times where like I feel like I would communicate to someone and it would just like be turned in a non-positive way. And I like being very, very positive and like I have a moving forward type mindset. I always like growth. I always like pushing forward because I feel like that's the best thing to do. I feel like we cannot get stuck in the past. I feel like that's tough. That's something I've done a lot when I was younger. And so I have nothing more than what is potentially in front of me. And so I would be a fool if I were to not move forward that. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's for all of us. We have what we have right now, and we can never have what we had in the past again. If we want something similar or something better, we have to move forward for it. So why are we looking back other than to push ourselves forward? Okay? You feel me? And that's just how I feel. Um, and so I feel like if I'm having a conversation with someone and they're being negative on certain things, you feel me? I feel like it's just kind of like, dang, I really wish that we could just move forward. Or if they try to like flip it, like if I'm being nice and positive and trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, or I'm just like asking questions and things like that, and they're just kind of like cutting it in a way that almost makes me feel like I cannot talk. I feel like I feel like that's a me thing that I probably need to work on. You know, it might just be like a view. Maybe I should just like cut those people off because maybe I'm enabling them a little bit by giving them the benefit of the doubt multiple different times. That's what we were talking about with communication earlier. When do you feel like communication is no longer valid and you just like let things go? In Denmark, we are notoriously and maybe a bit stereotypically known to be very progressive, but to be fair, it's very safe here as well. So like easier to allow your kids to be out late, etc. I think in America, as it's like a big melding pot, I feel like we oftentimes suffer from stereotypes and people being distrusting of each other because it's such a mesh of different cultures, which is why I like harp on communication and understanding, um, in knowing that no one ever means to be malicious in any way typically. There are people that have been in the past. There will always be malicious people in the world, and we deal with them when those problems arise, right? But but overall, typically, I have felt I have felt very safe in my life. You feel me? There have been a lot of times where I have not felt safe. And there's been a lot of times where I've like overthought things and thought like I was in danger for certain things and I wasn't, right? That's just fact. But I believe that through every culture that has come to America and cultures that are here and things of that nature, that typically, bro, like I don't I don't think anyone truly wishes harm on anybody. I think we all just want to live a good life. That's the main reason why a lot of people came to America. And I think the cultures that were built here were built on like a lot of love and moving forward. I feel like that's what a lot of us need to focus on. And I think America could have that too. I feel like America's pretty safe. It has definitely like not perceived that way by the world, and there's definitely a lot of things that have happened here, but a lot of things happen everywhere. I don't think America has ever been a bad country. I don't think it's a bad country now, and I don't think it's going to be a bad country. I think we're going to get our shit together, and I think media wise, worldwide media wise, if people talk shit about us, they're going to continue to do that. But I think America is the country it is for a reason, and I feel like it will continue to be that. And I love my country, and I love every community that is in the country, and I feel like we will all be able to continue to move forward together. And I can't wait to see like what the country's like in like 40, 50 years. I agreed. A lot of Nordic countries raise kids like that. Yeah, I feel like letting your kids be free and like actually like learn stuff on their own while also like teaching them their own things is very important though. Independence is very important. Rarely, but people are also very chill here. People tend to be like disagree very civilly here, even across politics. So I rarely encounter a bad tone in a conversation. I mean, what you're speaking on, a bit broad. Like we're very crass here. Politeness or positivity is like good, but in American context, we Danes tend to be rude, like direct. We don't care about BS. We are not really malicious. We're not really malicious and don't mean it as such. So there's cultural differences that can make a difference in how you experience a conversation. And that's exactly what I'm saying, right? And you just gave me like the perfect example. I'll read the other thing you sent in 1 second. That is the perfect example of what I'm saying of giving people the benefit of the doubt in believing that no one is trying to be malicious, bro. Because America has so many different cultures that one thing that might be good for one group might not be good for the other group. And so I feel like if we attribute and teach understanding and move forward, you feel me, and get that, it'll be fine. Yeah, like moving forward, and instead of like instantly judging someone for not being the same way that you are, looking for understanding, being curious. Children are very curious, which is why children don't have a lot of bad like habits and stereotypes we attribute to what is bad in America and in the world. If you stay curious, my friends, grow up, be curious of your neighbor, be curious of the person that is different from you. Ask questions, learn. You feel me? Even if you're afraid, step out of your comfort zone. You feel me? Because I guarantee you, sometimes people just want to be heard and listened to. I think it could be very peaceful and you might make a new friend. I think it is very, very importante. So, having lived in America, I often dealt with times where I was misunderstood as being rude. Okay, I hear you. Due to being very direct. I think directness is good. On the flip side, I think the same happens with Americans that come here. I think if people just take a chill mindset and try to meet each other in the best light, assume good of each other, give them the benefit of the doubt, which is what I'm saying, not the worst, then you can disagree as much as you want in convos and it's Gucci fine, etc. Exactly.